Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you to this year's Sonoma County Yom HaShoah Commemoration. My name is Alexa Moreno. I am a member of the Yom HaShoah Planning Committee and Alliance for the Study of the Holocaust and Genocide. I am joining you today from Northern Germany, where I am in graduate school at Europa Universität Flensburg. Hopefully next year, we can all be together in person, but for now, we appreciate that today's technology enables us to come together on video. While there will be several changes to the local commemorations you may have experienced in the past, we try to honor our traditions as much as possible while ensuring the health and safety of community members. Please join in me thanking Erica Wisner, the cantorial soloist at Congregation Shamrei Torah, for the lovely Nigun, a wordless melody, to set the tone for today's commemoration. Erica will be performing later in this program, and you'll get to hear her lovely voice again. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. Hopefully most of you are familiar with the Zoom video platform. We'll have a text chat capability available for the next few minutes so you can interact with the speakers and other attendees. Feel free to say hello in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from. Please also let us know if you are a Holocaust or genocide survivor or a descendant, and if you are or have previously shared your stories in the schools. During the commemoration, you'll be able to chat with the hosts if you have any technical problems. We will reopen the chat capability for everyone at the end of the commemoration to facilitate discussion and connection. When the program begins, we recommend you that you use the speaker view. You can do so by using the button at the top right hand of your screen. Today's program, as well as the memorial book listing the names of loved ones lost in the Shoah, were posted in the chat window. Feel free to open and download these resources. They're also available on the JCC website. The program includes the agenda and a list of participants, the mourners Kaddish, lyrics of the songs that will be performed, and a list of our sponsors who helped make this event possible. If you have any technical problems, let us know through the chat window. We will do our best to help you. We truly appreciate your participation in today's commemoration, as well as we honor and pay tribute to those who have suffered yet persevered through the tragic events that took place during the Holocaust, while recognizing that anti-Semitism and genocide continue today. By remembering the past, we can help prevent the escalation of prejudice into genocide. I would like to welcome Rabbi Erwin Keller of Congregation Ner Shalom for the invocation.
Thank you, Alexia. Holy One of Blessing, we have gathered today to remember, to recall those who perished, to honor those who survived, to mourn a world lost, and imagine a world that might have been. We know we are approaching a time when there will no longer be firsthand witnesses, a time when we, all of us here, will be called upon to be the witnesses, witnesses to the witnesses. Help us to reflect and share all that they have taught us. Help us to find new ways to tell and new ways to teach. Just as at Passover we tell of our slavery and liberation from Egypt as if we were, each of us, personally there, so may we learn how to tell this story, these stories, in our own voices, as if we were there. Together may we and the generations to come tell the tale not only of suffering and loss, but also of endurance, kindness, survival, and revival. We know that we can do this. We are vessels of memory. You have created us nekavim, nekavim, chalulim, chalulim. You have made us porous. We are permeable to these stories. We know that we carry in our bodies, in our bones, the trauma of our ancestors, the suffering of our people. We know now how their suffering is suffused in our cells. May we accept this biology not as burden, but as gift. May we carry this memory not as wound, but as wisdom. And may that wisdom inform our words and actions in this world. And so, Holy One, help us today to hear. May our time together be a healing for those who perished, for those who loved them, and for all of us. May we hold their stories, all this holy wisdom in our bodies with dignity and determination. And with this wisdom, may we bring about a healed world. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Keller, for your moving words and important message. I would like to introduce the Congregation Ner Shalom's Good Shabbos Band, who will be performing Adonai Oz. The words and translation are in your program. The slides of the local Holocaust survivors accompanying the music were lovingly prepared by Barbara Lesh McCaffrey.
Adonai Oz, Le'amo yitin Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai Oz, Le'amo yitin Adonai yivarech et amo.
first program segment is the candle lighting ceremony, which honors extraordinary journeys and remembers the 6 million Jewish lives lost in the Shoah. Rabbi Ted Feldman of the B'nai Israel Jewish Center will lead this portion. He will be followed by the Sheridan Gold of Congregation Ner Shalom's Good Shabbos Band on flute, sharing on improvisation based on the Ani Ma'amin, a song composed during the Holocaust whose author is not known. After Sheridan, Rabbi Mordecai Miller of Congregation Beth Ami will lead us in the candle lighting ceremony, recognizing other Holocaust victims, followed by a candle lighting recognizing other genocides.
Due to social distancing requirements and to ensure the health and safety of our beloved survivors and community members, we chose to do the candle lighting ceremony a bit differently this year. Yom HaShoah Planning Committee member Michelle Ziegelbaum, wife of Paul Ziegelbaum of blessed memory, who was a Holocaust descendant and beloved member of our community, will light the candles while we hear from the 6 survivors. A word about the 6-pointed candelabra that Michelle will be lighting. For over 60 years, we have used this menorah, brought back from Israel by Samuel Jaffe, a leader of the Petaluma community, and kept safe by committee member emerita Shelley Bauer. These candles, as they are lit, remind us of the qualities of the flame. The flames, of course, on this Yom HaShoah have a negative memory, the flames of the Shoah. But flames also are symbols of people's souls and the life that was imbued in them by their Creator. And flames also remind us that we have the task now to take the memory of these events and the people who traveled through them and use them as a light to light up the world of the Jewish people, and with the notion of continuing the life that they began, inspiring ourselves with the gift of memory and the blessings of the lives of future generations. We now turn to the candlelighting ceremony.
My name is Peter Krohn. My parents had the foresight to leave Berlin early and settle in Milano. Eventually, Mussolini forced foreign-born Jews to leave within 6 months. No country wanted Jews. With persistence and good luck, we managed to get visas to Canada 3 weeks before the day we would have been deported to the camps. We boarded a train heading towards our ship to freedom. Suddenly, the train stopped, and SS Nazis in their uniforms got on board to check passengers. My mom had hidden 7 gold coins in a bag of candy. As the Nazis went through our papers and belongings, they spotted my teddy bear that I was clinging onto tightly. They ripped it away and cut my beloved teddy bear to pieces. Finding nothing, and because of my tears and piercing screams, they moved on. The loss of my teddy bear and my loud cries may have distracted them from checking the bag of candy and therefore saved our lives.
My name is Maurice Blaug. I am the son of Bernard Blauaug. When the news of Hitler's activity reached Placid Amsterdam in 1942, my father took steps to protect his family. My 2 brothers were sent for safekeeping to England, while my mother and I went to southern France with him to await developments. Well, those developments came so swiftly that, like many refugees, we were trapped there. Fortunately, with luck and money, we managed to escape France and emigrate to America. Those of my family who stayed behind were all murdered. Returning to Holland in 1946, the full impact of the genocide was too much for my father's heart to bear, and he too died.
My name is Hans Angress. I was born in Berlin in 1928, the youngest of three sons. My family fled Germany in 1937 to Amsterdam. My oldest brother went to the US. When Hitler invaded, my father was arrested and ultimately killed in Auschwitz. My mother, middle brother, and I survived separately in hiding with the Dutch underground.
My name is Olga Winkler. I was born in Hungary. Between 1938 and 1940, along with three of my four siblings, I was in hiding with relatives. By 1939, both of my parents and my older brother had left for Cleveland to find jobs and send for the remaining children. Finally, in 1940, when I was 12, my three siblings and I set off for America. That was very good to arrive here. Also, I wanted to mention, over the years, I have spoken to students in local schools to tell the story of my experience in Hungary during the Second World War. I was raised in Breslau, Germany, and lived there under the Nazis until February 1939. In Breslau, I witnessed Kristallnacht, the burning of my synagogue, the destruction of Jewish homes and businesses, and the arrest of adult Jewish males. Even living under Nazi rule, I and a group of friends met weekly to socialize and to read and perform plays. My immediate family survived because they were among those fortunate to have received immigration status to the United States.
I was born in Germany, where I lived until November 1938. I was on the first kinder transport and arrived in England on December 2nd, 1938, and immigrated to the United States in June 1940. I found work as a toolmaker after 2 years service in the US Navy. I studied engineering on the GI Bill of Rights at City College of New York, which led to a career in mechanical engineering. In 1944, I married Suzanne Bieberstein. In 1982, after retiring, we came to California to be close to our brother and their son.
My name is Edith Newman. I graduated from high school in Berlin. In 1936, my father, who had a millinery business, heard his best customer announce that he could not do business with him anymore. He then knew it was time to get out of Germany. Sponsored by my father's brother, my parents and I were finally able to leave Germany to join my uncle in Newark, New Jersey in 1938. My paternal grandmother and aunt had already emigrated there in 1934. Of the family, my mother's uncle and aunt perished in Auschwitz. In America, I had to go back to high school, but I'm very grateful to my parents who loved and protected me through all the challenging circumstances awaiting me in this new country.
Thank you, Sheridan, for putting into music what we simply don't have words for. Continuing the candlelighting ceremony, we'd like to remember and recognize the other groups that were also persecuted in recognition of the fact that Jews weren't the only victims during the Holocaust. Sadly, genocide didn't begin or end with the Holocaust. Yom HaShoah Planning Committee member Sandy Feldhorn, the son of Holocaust survivors, will light the candles on behalf of the other victims.
As a Jewish lesbian, I am honored to light this memorial candle. Some 15,000 lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people suffered exceptionally cruel treatment during the Holocaust. Today, as we face a future with both fear and hope for our country and community, I'm grateful that there are memorials around the world to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people who were treated as subhuman by Nazi monsters.
My name is Elaine Snarson Leader, and I am the daughter of a refugee who lost his entire family to the Holocaust by bullets in Lithuania. I'm also a Dean Emerita at Sonoma State University, a member of Tzedek, which is the social justice arm at Ner Shalom, and a board member of the Workers' Circle Arbiter Ring, a national socialist Yiddish secular activist group that is over 100 years old. I am honored to light this candle for all who were imprisoned and died for opposing or criticizing governments responsible for the Holocaust. At this time, I feel compelled to honor those activists in Myanmar and Hong Kong who are standing up for independence and freedom, the way that our own activist forebears have done in the past. I honor their commitment and their dedication for freedom in their homelands.
I'm Reverend Dr. Benjamin J. Broadbent, and I serve as lead minister of the Community Church of Sebastopol, United Church of Christ, founded in 1889. I am a third-generation Christian minister who grew up in Santa Cruz and attended seminary at Harvard Divinity School. Over the course of my ministry, I have been passionate about interfaith dialogue, reproductive rights, and economic justice. I am lighting this candle to honor the righteous Gentiles who risked their lives to save thousands of Jews during the Shoah.
My name is Larry Carlin, and I am lighting this candle for the Sinti and Romani who were killed by the thousands in World War II. A couple of years ago, we visited the site in Berlin, and it was overwhelming.
Hello, I'm Jenny.
And I am Amelia.
I'm a licensed clinical psychologist in Santa Rosa.
I am a junior at Santa Rosa High School.
And we're here today to represent
and honor and
that's right, honor
the people with disabilities who were murdered in the Holocaust.
That's right. We're here today to honor people with disabilities who were murdered in the Holocaust because no life is unworthy of life.
As a third-generation Armenian genocide survivor, I am honored to light a candle in commemoration of the 1.5 million Armenian genocide victims, including the majority of my grandparents' families, and for all the survivors who strive for recognition, so this painful history will not continue to be denied. I am deeply grateful for including the Armenians in this commemoration for 18 years now, and thereby giving us a home so we are not forgotten in Sonoma County. I am also lighting this candle in memory of all those targeted by genocide throughout time and across the globe, including the recent ethnic cleansing of Armenians from last fall's attack and loss of lives and ancient lands of Artsakh. May they not be forgotten.
And in memory of the thousands of those whose lives were lost, and also those touched by genocides throughout the world, our final candle is in remembrance of other genocides, of the Native Americans, of the Armenians in Cambodia, in Bosnia, of the Tutsi in Rwanda, in Darfur and the Sudan, of the Yazidi in Iraq and Syria, of the Rohingya in Myanmar, of the Uyghurs in China, and in memory of the thousands of those whose lives were lost and also those touched by genocides throughout the world. May it cease in our lifetime.
I'll now like to introduce Erica Wisner, the cantorial soloist at Congregation Shamrei Torah, who will be performing Yesh Kohavim. She's accompanied by Yvonne Warmer, their liturgical pianist. The words and translation are in your program and in the chat.
There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light. Long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember. Yesh kochavim she'oram magia arza, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ונום. יש אנשים שזיו זכרם מאיר, כאשר הם עצמם אינם עוד בתוכנו. אורות אלה המבהיקים בחשכת הליל, הם שמראים לאדם את הדרך, את הדרך. הם שמראים לאדם את הדרך, את הדרך. We remember, we remember.
Thank you, Erica. The Holocaust is unique in many ways, including its effects on the survivors and their descendants. Survivors have passed their stories on to their children, who in turn have passed their stories on to the next generation. As time passes, this is one way in which the Holocaust shall be remembered. And it is so important that the stories, both tragic and inspiring, continue to be told. As a group, we must continue to teach younger generations about the Holocaust so it never is allowed to occur again. Every survivor has a story, and every story is different. Hearing the survivors tell their stories help us understand that not just what happened from a historical perspective, but a personal perspective as well. These stories bring the horrors and the heroism to life. Today, through these video clips, we get to hear the stories from our 4 of our beloved community members, Hans Angress, Al and Suzanne Batsdorf, and Lillian Judd. While Lillian Judd is no longer with us, her words and stories live on as she continues to educate and impact future generations.
At first, before I go any further, I would like to ask you to get rid of your hatred. Don't carry your hatred in your heart. Get rid of it. Talk to your teachers, talk to your counselors, talk to your parents, even to a policeman. Just don't carry it because it will turn into hatred. And hatred brings prejudice and other bad things to your heart. So get it out and start now. I had this nightmare. I had nightmares all the time. But this nightmare came up and I woke up screaming and in tears and scared because I just saw my dad was killed there, and I saw that blood and everything. It was so real looking. And I couldn't stop crying afterwards. I kept seeing it. Usually a nightmare just, once I wake up, it goes away. This one didn't want to leave me. And I thought to myself, I better sit down and write about it, because I won't get rid of it until then. Then I decided that next morning I had an old clunker typewriter and I started to type. When I started to write, then I kind of felt freer to talk about it, because until then I couldn't talk about my experiences. And after I started to write the book, I felt free. I could talk about it.
At that time, the English government passed a law to admit 10,000 Jewish children to England. That was called the Kindertransport. And these, so my name was put on the list of the first Kindertransport, and I arrived in England on the 2nd of December 1938, which was 5 weeks after Kristallnacht. So I don't remember very much about the time I spent with my grandmother, but I remember my time in England. And you want to read about the Suzanne had written a poem about the Kindertransport.
It's called Once Upon a Time, a Kindertransport fairy tale. We all call ourselves kids. We get together, remembering the one event we shared. Once upon a time, 6 decades ago, we went by train, tagged like parcels, bundled, labeled, ready for shipment. Rumbling trains rushed us far from home, from parents, from the safe haven of family, from the language we knew, from friends to strangers, from known to unknown. We reached the border, crossed the channel to England, from horror and fear to future and hope. We were children, perhaps, and yet at 16, 6 feet tall and skinny, fresh from arrest, having fled on foot, run home and been told, don't delay, get lost, they'll come after you, they'll catch you, flee or you're doomed. Could I really claim could be still a child.
I've been married twice. I have 6 children from my first marriage, 12 grandkids, and one on the way in Jakarta, Indonesia, of all places, and have 8 great-grandkids. My second wife, Inola, and I have been married for 35 years. She helped me raise my 2 youngest children. I am often asked why I do not seem angry. Anger is a waste of energy, and instead channel my efforts into matters that are productive. Speaking to students like you also has helped me get rid of anger because of hope that by sharing my story, I can urge young people to choose a positive path in life, not a destructive one. So what might you learn from a Jewish kid who grew up in Nazi Germany? The inhumanity of people towards each other continues to this day. The Nazis just put a new twist to it. When evil people come to power, apparently it is easy for them to convince perfectly decent people to commit horrendous acts. Intelligent evil people in leading positions are a lot more dangerous than dumb ones. Dumb ones are merely obnoxious. Bright ones are deadly. When finding yourself the target of persecution, it is important to be realistic, to recognize the danger and try to save yourself, as did my mother, but far too few of my fellow Jews did. Realize that few people are heroes, willing to risk their life to save others. Ask yourself, what would you do if a complete stranger, facing an unknown danger, would ask you for help? Would you risk you and your family's life, as Ali and Tonkoy did, to shelter me from the Nazis? I'm hopeful for the future, but there's work to be done, and I'm afraid that much of it is up to you, because my generation has failed to deal with the many of the long-term problems humankind faces. Don't ask, what can I do as an individual? You can perform an act of kindness, help someone in need. Arthur Ashe, the tennis player, once said, start where you are now, use what you have, do what you can. Above all, pay attention, think, and don't just follow the leaders as so many Germans did. And please treat others the way you want to be treated.
We are grateful to these remarkable individuals for sharing their heartbreaking experiences with us, so that we and future generations will never forget the tragedy of Hashoah. I now welcome Barbara Lesh McCaffrey, the co-chair of this committee and the president of the Alliance for the Study of the Holocaust and Genocide.
Thank you, Alexia. Please join me in honoring and acknowledging the fact that many of those lighting candles today have been sharing their stories in local middle and high schools through the Alliance for the Study of the Holocaust and Genocide's Education Committee and the Story Project of Sonoma County. We are truly indebted to Hans Angress, Alan Suzanne Batzdorf, Maurice Blug, Christine Davidian, Sandy Feldhorn, Elaine Schneerson-Leader, Peter Krohn, and Olga Winkler, and many others, both present and past, for sharing their stories and helping to counter intolerance in our community. It is our tradition to remember any Holocaust survivors in a community who've died since the last Yom HaShoah commemoration. This year, we remember Claude Gans. Claude and his family fled Germany during the Nazi occupation. His family went to France, where they were arrested by French collaborators in 1941. Placed in a deportation camp, Claude and his family escaped on foot to Switzerland in the winter of 1943. After 4 years of internment as refugees in Switzerland, they came to the United States. Claude is remembered as a tireless advocate for Jewish education as a way to promote interfaith harmony. Recognized as a driving force in the formation of their Jewish Studies program, Claude was awarded an honorary doctorate from Sonoma State University. When asked what sustained him during his darkest times and the lessons which he learned from those experiences, Claude replied that his family's commitment to remaining Jewish held them together when the entire world seemed to abandon them. He died on January 24th of this year. We also remember Louis Kenneth Hopfer, a Holocaust descendant who'd been working with the Alliance Education Committee to share his mother's story of survival with local middle and high school students. He died on October 22nd, 2020. May their memories be a blessing for all those whose lives their stories touched.
Our longtime friend and cantorial soloist at Petula's B'nai Israel Jewish Center, Freddie Bloom, will open the concluding portion of our program by setting the spiritual mood for memory of those loved ones and all the strangers who died beside them, who live in our hearts. She begins with the traditional Yiddish version of Eli Eli, followed by El Maleh Rachamim. And if you are able, we ask you to stand for El Maleh Rachamim. You will find the words in the program and in the chat.
Eli, Eli, lama zaftoni. Eli, Eli, lama zaftoni. In Feuer, in Flamme hat man uns gebrennt und uns überall gemacht zu Schand und Spott. Doch ob zuwenden hat uns keiner nicht gekannt von dir, mein Gott, mit deiner heilige Teure und mit dein Gebot. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Tag und Nacht, nur ich trach, mein Gott, ich heit mit Meure, ob dein Teure, dein Gebot. Rette mich von Gefahr, wie amol. Du was wünsch Wesen gesagt, Herr, mein Gebot, mein Gebet. Helfen kannst du, nur du allein. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please rise. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Amtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat, Kanfei Hashchina, B'malot Kedoshim, B'malot Kedoshim, Kedoshim Udehorim, Kezohar Arakia, Masirim, Umasirim, Et nishmat Acheinu b'nei Israel, שנזרו ודוחצו, ושנשרפו, ושנרוחים. Auschwitz, Majdanek, Treblinka, ובשאר מחנות חשמד באירופה. בעל רחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור החיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום. אל נשכבה ונאמר
For the Kaddish and the benediction, we welcome Rabbi George Giltleman and Erica Wisner of the Congregation Shamrei Torah. You can find the words to the Kaddish in both English and Hebrew, as well as the transliteration in your program guide and in the chat.
Kaddish Atom, Mourner's Kaddish, is one of the prayers we never translate, because it's not so much about the words, but about the feeling that the words provoke inside us. Even the sound, Yit Kadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, makes us think of our family, our parents, our siblings, our lovers, all those we've loved and lost. It's another thing about Kaddish, and that is that you can't really say it for yourself. We're always saying it for someone else. And as we rise to say Kaddish Aton Mourner's Kaddish this afternoon, we can't help but remember, realize, be shocked and really blown apart inside to think about the millions of Jews who have no one to say Kaddish for them, scattered all over in mass graves and piles of ash, lost to the wind. But not at least this afternoon, because at least for this moment, they are our family. And they live on through us. And they're not forgotten. And in this way, as Jews do, we will keep faith with those who sleep in the dust. So if you're able to rise, please rise as we recite Kaddish Atom Mourner's Kaddish together. I believe the text will be displayed. It's in the chat. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah ve'amad yivrach chiyutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman karif ve'imru Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam U'mei Almaya. Yitbarach Yishtabach Yitpa'ar V'Uman V'Tnaseh V'Tadar V'Taleh V'Talal Shemed Kudsha B'Richu. Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechemata Da'amiram Be'alma V'Imru Amen. Yehi Shlamo Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu Ve'el Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Osei Shalom B'Ramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'el Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen.
Amen.
Osei Shalom B'Ramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen.
I've always thought that the word benediction was strange, especially on this day. How do you bless a day like this? There's a tension in our tradition between the particular and the universal, between the family, the Jewish community, the Jewish tribe, in the best sense of the word tribe, and the universal values that our tradition and our people also represent and reflect. Yom HaShoah is in many ways a very particular commemoration. We might say very personal to us. Our families, our communities, wholesale slaughter, unimaginable. And yet it seems also true that never again, that slogan that after the Shoah, this could never again happen. If it's a moral imperative, it must apply to all people everywhere, not just us. In the last 4 years or so, we've seen a frightening rise in hate and hate crimes against Jews, against us across the globe. And so we have a right to say never again to us and to be concerned in a very particular way about our particular family, community, and tribe. And yet, genocide is also a persistent global evil happening in a number of places around the world right now. And here in our beloved country, and when I say that, I mean it, I love this country. No country's been better for the Jews than this country. Here in our beloved country, we have been slow, when I say we, the Jewish community, but also the rest of us, we have been slow to realize that there are at least two Americas, one for white people and those who pass as white, and another for everyone else. Perhaps even harder for us to accept is our role in perpetuating an unequal, unjust, and at times murderous system. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one of my heroes, was fond of saying, and by the way, he did not make up this phrase, but he was fond of quoting it, "The curve of history bends towards justice." And as Jews, we're taught to believe in the promise of the future. I was first introduced to me by Rabbi David Hartman, may his memory be for a blessing. And that's all good, all well and good, but not good enough. Because as far as I can tell, the arc doesn't bend without us. And belief, faith, all good things, as long as they're matched with moral muscle and a commitment to bring God down to earth now. We bend the arc. We are the hands and feet of God. We make never again a reality for all people everywhere, or Thank you.
I have just a few announcements and thank yous before we conclude by lighting the candle of hope. Our annual program comes together after much discussion and work by the members of the Planning Committee and cooperating community organizations. We have gratefully acknowledged Doron Hovav and his amazing video abilities. This event could not happen without his skill and talent. Special thanks to Zoom for graciously and generously providing us with a video platform for today's event. And we also acknowledge the ongoing support from our co-sponsors. You will find their names on screen and in your program. Special thanks goes to the Jewish Center of Sonoma County and Sonia Garzazu for assistance with the website and registration. We will also like to particularly recognize JCC Director Ellen Bluestein, who will be retiring this year. Ellen has provided a great deal of support to our committee and this event over the years. Also, special thanks to the Alliance for the Study of the Holocaust and Genocide of Genocide at the Sonoma State University, the Jewish Community Federation of San Francisco, the Peninsula, Marin, and Sonoma counties, and the Jewish congregations of Sonoma County, including Congregation Beth Ami, B'nai Israel Jewish Center, Congregation Ner Shalom, Congregation Shamrei Torah, and Congregation Shir Shalom. The Yom HaShoah Planning Committee worked diligently on this event. We gratefully acknowledge the hard work of our co-chairs, Barbara Lesh McCaffrey and Blair Pleasant, as well as committee members Larry Carlin, Miriam Susan DeGray, Sandy Feldhorn, Carla Frank, Sarah Hart, Alexa Moreno, Ellen Vandenberg, and Michelle Siegelbaum, and invaluable support for our past committee members, Ellie Cohen and Paula Simon. The Planning Committee welcomes additional active members who will bring new ideas and energy to our work and help us continue offering the support program each year. Please let us know in the chat if you'd like to join our committee and help us bring this event to life. We'll now like to conclude with a candle of hope led by Lily Matalon, a sophomore at Montgomery High School and part of the Harim teen group and Shamrei Torah's Shorty teen group.
As we conclude, we light a candle of hope. We hope that atrocities like the Shoah never happen again. We hope that there are no more genocides anywhere in the world. We hope that all people can learn from the past and vow to never repeat it. And we hope that memories of those who perished will forever be a blessing and that they will never be forgotten. We invite you each to light a candle on your own, representing a candle of hope. While this year we light candles individually, we hope to next year together, join together and fill the room with the light of hundreds of candles. May the light conquer the darkness of intolerance in our midst.
Thank you, Lily, and thank you to all who joined us today to make this program so meaningful. We hope that next year we're able to gather together in person to share this experience. We try to make this event as meaningful as possible with the resources and technology available, but we know it's not the same as being with our friends, neighbors, fellow congregants, and community members. I'd like to draw your attention to the screen to view the memorial book listing the names of victims of the Shoah remembered by members of our community. You can also find the PDF of the memorial book on the JCC website on the Yom HaShoah page under the Special Events tab. If you know of others who have hoped to join us today, were unable to do so, the video of today's commemoration will be posted soon on the JCC website. Thank you for joining us.